Hello devils of the internet, welcome back to my channel Jan and Friends, where me and my friends usually go explore spooky ooky dooky places. Well, we're doing 13 Nights of Halloween, and for today's video we're going to discuss movies, horror films, my favorite. Take my recommendations with a grain of salt. Everyone has very different opinions about movies, especially horror films. I'm just saying it's a good watch. So we all have different definitions of what scary is. For me, it doesn't have to be jump scares. It doesn't have to be like a serial killer or possessions. Like, it doesn't have to be anything super specific. Most people like that. Most people think like just spiritual stuff is creepy and not serial killers. For me, it's like whatever I feel from the movie is what I feel from the movie. If I feel uncomfortable, creeped out, scared, disturbed, that's just how I feel about it, and that's what makes it a good horror film. So the first underrated horror film is called Hellhouse LLC. This is about a haunted house attraction in New York, but then scary bad shit starts happening and people think it's part of the house attraction, but it really isn't. And so it's kind of documentary style, trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. This movie, I'm remembering one specific scene that really creeped me out, and this overall was just a good film and I really enjoyed it, and probably will watch it later to refresh my memory. So the opening for this is what you're about to see is a documentary on the mysterious events surrounding the 2009 Halloween haunted house tour tragedy, and then it goes on from there. Hour and a half of a movie, really good. So I think Hellhouse is just a great creepy movie that is worth the watch and puts you in the Halloween mood. So next, let's talk about The House is October Built. This was on Netflix for the longest. I don't think it is anymore. I've seen this movie probably twice and I love it because when I first watched it I was like, oh great, a silly movie and I'm not gonna like it that much. Well, the more you get into the movie, the more weird and uncomfy things happen, and then it just escalates and then you're just like, what the fuck? So the movie is about 5 people who are documenting their travels to haunted house attractions all around Texas, but they really want to be invited to the scariest one. You have to be invited though, so they're just trying to figure out how to get there. Like, what do they need to do to get invited? But along the way, creepy things happen, and yeah, definitely worth the watch. I think documentary styles for me are personally the scariest. The next underrated horror film, which I loved because it freaked me the fuck out, it is Gojam Haunted Asylum. It's a Korean film. It is so good. It's about a web crew where they do spooky stuff. Sounds familiar. And they have fans and they're going on a live broadcast to this haunted asylum. And you know, they're like, yeah, it's probably not gonna be that haunted, nothing's gonna really happen, blah blah blah. Well, haunted things start happening, and I just feel like Koreans and Japanese just really know how to creatively scare the shit out of you, and I just freaked out. And again, I'm just thinking about this one certain scene that has scarred me, and I'm like, oh my god, if I was ever in that situation, low-key, when we went to Yorktown Memorial Hospital, which is a video that we did a little while ago on this channel, I was expecting something like this movie to happen. Of course, it's a little bit more fiction, but I was freaked out from this movie. This is a good one to grab your friends around and get scared. The next underrated horror film is The Descent. Now, in quarantine, I spent a lot of time watching horror films that I just never seen before. That was like one of my goals. Like, every night, let's watch a different horror film. And this was one of them. And I've never heard of it. I just always saw it recommended to me. And I watched it and I was like, holy crap, this is a great, scary film. It has the elements of like claustrophobia, of suspense, of creatures, and like, it just kept plot twist on plot twist, and I felt like I couldn't breathe watching the movie. It was so good. It was so good, and I feel like not a lot of people have seen it, and it should just be one of the classics. Like, you got The Conjuring, Annabelle, The Descent should be right up there with it too. And last but not least, everyone has heard me talk about this movie, but it's because it left a literal impact on my life. It is called The Empty Man. Now this one's on HBO Max and it's a pretty lengthy movie. It's probably close to 3 hours and you're gonna have a million questions and a million WTF moments, but it is so worth the experience. Like, it's not for everyone, I will say that. It might be a little too weird for some people, but I mean, that was an experience. That was a trip. I got nightmares. Like, it's also scary and just uncomfortable and you're like, why am I doing this to myself? But everyone should watch it and experience it at least once. So The Empty Man on HBO Max. There's so many good movies. I feel like I left out a lot. If you have a favorite or one that you think is so underrated, please comment down below and share with the rest of us. I love horror films. I feel like my audience loves horror films and it's spooky season. I want to watch something new. I want to watch something great. You know, I'm all about the gore, the scary, the whatever. Just let me feel something inside. I just want to feel something, you know? Like this video, subscribe, comment, notification. You know the drill if you're on YouTube. Bye. Thank you.